This is your man who did it this time, coming at you with another episode, another installment to the classic series, Cross Reference. This one will be titled, Why is there not a family handbook? Why is there not a family handbook? Giving honor to God, Yahweh, who is the head of my life, I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to provide a message for viewers, visitors, and obviously the subscribers. Thank you. I appreciate all of the feedback, recommendations, and support. Why is there not a family handbook? The reason why I started this episode specifically was because I was cleaning around the house this morning getting ready for work. And I look down and I see this student handbook for my two youngest. One who's in high school, a junior, and I have a fifth grader. So I'm looking down at the paper, and I'll be honest with y'all, I don't really look at the student handbooks because I expect my children from the teachings that their mother and I have provided, that when you go to school, you obey their rules as long as it's not overstepping your spirituality or no one's trying to cause you any physical harm. But we expect them to, obey the rules. My kids don't do drugs, thank the Lord. I don't have to worry about no violation of tobacco or vaping as these kids do. We don't promote any type of violence, but if somebody steps over your virtual line, you must destroy them, or at least do everything in your power to send a message that you're not going to hurt me. That's just not going to fly. Yes, we tell our children that. You don't start fights, but you damn sure finish them. Yes, I promote that. Then, obviously, when it comes to the school handbook, when it comes to dress code, they used to go to schools where they were promoting uniforms. They even was able to get it passed where they would have to wear khakis and a polo. And my little one went to a Catholic school, so you know what type of time they was on. But now they're back in public school, and for the most part, the dress code requirements aren't too rigorous, and they're not too overbearing. Just come to school, make sure you're not showing your drawers, and when it comes to the girls, don't send off any sexual messages. You get my point. That's a school handbook. And if you've been to public school, some form of education, whether it be business school, trade school, military school, college, there is a handbook. So we all get that. We all understand the purpose of the handbook is to let you know that there is a brain trust, a thinking tank, a board of trustees, a board of members, and other administrators who make these rules and regulations for their body of students to understand that if you follow these, if you're under the code of conduct, you will be within our guidelines for our approval, and everything will go accordingly. You will get your degree, some certificate stating of completion of the educational programming that you went through. All right, that's all the student handbook covers. But when it comes to our households, we don't read that handbook either. And then I'll sum it up and I'm done. There should be a family handbook. What we expect in our house. The beginning stages of the family handbook should be written before you even conceive the child, before you inseminate your woman, brothers, before you allow a man to inseminate you to the sisters. This has nothing to do with race, age, or gender at the moment. We are talking about those of you all who I would like to think are part of the thinking men and women population. There should be an understanding of what we expect in our house. Not what the world is talking about, not what Jack Frost or Jack O'Lantern or Cupid or any of these other woke movements that y'all seeing out here. Has nothing to do with the election, the polls, Republican or Democrats. Has nothing to do with that. There should be a handbook that tells your children what time it is, What time we expect you home. If you're at a certain age group, what your expectations are on the weekend versus the weekday. What we do culturally, spiritually in our house. That's all part of our family handbook. And last but not least, penalties, consequences, ramifications of infractions that they've committed should all be in our family handbook, but it's not for some odd reason. And we have the best family handbook that man has ever known. There's commandments, there's rules, there's regulations, there's warnings, and last but not least, there are gifts and rewards if you comply. And that family handbook is called the Holy Scriptures. I recommend the King James Version, 1611. Someone else may have different variations. I only advise and recommend that you pray over it before you purchase any Bible at the moment and ask for clear understanding. But it is a family handbook like no other. You want to learn how to deal with a dysfunctional child? It talks about how to discipline, and it gives you warnings if you fail to do so. If you have a child that struggles with being drunk, public drunkenness, fornication, masturbation, misuse of the eyes, fornicating with the eyes, lustful intent, overeating, jealousy, envy, covetousness, stealing from one another, items, adultery, all of that is in there about dealing with our family. And if we all had those family handbooks, not the one to your daily high school or your law firm or your sorority group, fraternity group, I'm not talking about that handbook. If you had the ultimate family handbook in your whole community and you lived by it, studied it, prayed on it, marinated on it, you would see an immediate turnaround in our community. And once again, Wokities, this is not for you. This is for those who understand that that's a spirit. I could care less what color you are, how old you are, or what sex you'd like to tell me that you are at the moment. Are you following the rules and regulations to this handbook? Because if you are, there are gifts that are endless. You'll live and live abundantly. But if you fail to do so, me as a brother who cares about you, I should have the wherewithal to point it out. Hey, in the handbook, it says this and that. Is there a reason why, are you struggling up on it? Let's pray about it. But that sounds too much like writing at the moment. It's almost sci-fi. And I don't want to lose y'all attention, so I just want to say thank you again for tuning in. This is a cross-reference series. I'm your man who did it this time. This one was titled, Why Is There Not a Family Handbook? Be well.